If you've yet to buy your 2024 Gold Season Pass and you're thinking about getting the All Park Passport add on, you might want to think about which park is your home park before you make that decision. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans. That's who we are, and that's who we care about.
So, Ryan, looking at KI Central and some of the social media channels out there, the Kings Island Season Pass Facebook group, you were a little fired up this weekend. Want to talk about that?
Well, it was one of those things where I was fired up on behalf of other people because, let's just tell them the news. So essentially, when the new passes went on sale for Cedar Fair, they said that they had gotten rid of the Platinum Pass, and then the Platinum Pass was going to be replaced by the All Park Passport. And we were led to believe when we purchased these passes, and you can see here, this is from Cedar Point's website, your gold or prestige benefits will be able to use at all Cedar Fair parks with the purchase of an All Park Passport add-on. Well, we come to find out, buyer beware.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Yes. So Cedar Point comes out. They're coming out with Top Thrill 2, which is a very exciting new roller coaster, which is the successor to Top Thrill Dragster. Right. And they're going to have some preview days. And this is very problematic. The first one is that they're having Prestige Pass holder preview day. And then they're having about 3 gold pass holder preview days. The problem is you have to be a Cedar Point, either Prestige or Gold Pass holder to attend. So under normal circumstances on the surface, that sounds like it's logical. But the problem is with a Platinum Pass, that was never, ever, ever the case. If you had a Platinum Pass, it was basically a Cedar Fair pass. So it didn't matter what park you got it from, you got it there. So it's not necessarily true that you get the same benefits. So we've come to find that out. And this is how it was announced to the people. I put both of these up here. So as you can see, this is from Cedar Point's website, and it's showing that you have to have a Cedar Point Gold or Prestige Pass in order to participate in this. So people were asking, first of all, if you've got Prestige, you can only go on the Wednesday night, and they've got a bunch of opportunities for gold. So people with Prestige are asking, why can't I, if I can't make it that night, why can't they go another night? And of course they're like, we can't. It's because I said so. So that's rather unfortunate. The other thing is it kind of makes us wonder what game we're playing here. We were told that it is good for all the parks and you get all the benefits of all the parks. Now, the reason why I'm not necessarily mad is I have not bought a season pass. So I always have the foresight of wanting to know exactly what I'm buying. And I have a problem with forking out money. I often buy, for example, my Kings Island pass early, and then I wait to buy the food add-on because I'm concerned with the plan. I never know when the day is going to come where it's only La Rosas and hot dogs are on the plan. Call me paranoid, but I have a feeling that, they'll collect everybody's $140 or whatever dollars. And then all of a sudden they come out with the menus, 6 months later, and it's not what people had expected, from the previous interactions. So knowing what I had known over the past, year or so of dealing with the company, especially with the Prestige Pass things, which we've discussed to exhaustion, I didn't buy a pass. And I'm not protesting. I'm not saying I'm not going to buy a pass. I'm going to. I haven't yet. So I have a gift with this. For about $10 more, I'm able to choose what my home park is. And because of that, I can buy a Cedar Point Gold Pass and add the All Park Passport. And if I want to go to this thing, I can. So if anyone has seen me online fired up or whatever, it's on your behalf, not mine. And I had a lot of people that not a lot of people, but you always have 1 or 2 people with, let's call them sycophants, that try to say no, this is okay because Top Thrill 2 is just one ride, so the capacity. That's great. That's not my problem. You know, if I bought a gold pass and the all park passport is supposed to be tantamount to a platinum pass, and if the ride capacity isn't enough, open more rides, have it for more days. You know, if you want to offer this product, really offer it. Don't stick it to people that have already shelled out their money. Don, are you still on the call? Because I've said a lot.
Yeah, you have, and looking through all the different comments, if you had a Cedar Point gold pass with the all park passport and that, you seem to be fine with it because it works for you.
Right.
But there were a lot of individuals out there that I know that had the platinum pass through Kings Island, and they were banking on being able to go to the preview day. They didn't know it was going to be split up into 3 or 4 different nights. Oftentimes it was just one night at Cedar Point, and pretty much the whole park was open, at that point in time. So, they have a lot of disappointment with that. Now, you'd mentioned, not your problem about capacity and all those kind of things. I can see, and I'm going to be, on the other side of this for a few minutes here. I can see where Cedar Point, had to kind of, control the capacity a little bit. You can't have 30,000 people there for an event that's going to be 4 or 5 hours, and a ride that can only give a certain thousand number of rides for 4 hours. So doing the math, I mean, it doesn't add up. You have to, if you're only going to have it open for 4 or 5 hours, I can see why they went that direction. The problem I have is what you've been talking about, is that none of this was communicated at the time passes went on sale, that it will work sort of like a platinum pass that you get at other parks with restrictions. There was never restriction. If you had a platinum pass, any park that had a season pass preview night, you could go across the entire. Right. It was never a problem. You could go to Carowinds, you could go to King's Dominions, you could go to Cedar Point, you could go to Kings Island. Now there's some restrictions of these things. That's our problem, is that just the communication has been a problem. I guess over the past maybe year or so, it's really kind of slipped a little bit there. And that's not a good thing, because there's a lot of people that are starting to get upset. And you can say, yes, if they don't renew, someone else will take their place. Or you just assume, oh, they'll get over it, they'll come back. Well, that doesn't always happen.
Right.
You are starting to replace some of the guests that have not come back. But if season pass sales are flat or they start to decline, you look back at some of these, I wouldn't say the word decisions, I would say the communication is where the problem is. Not decisions, it's the communication that's been a bit of a problem there. And I'd like to see that get better.
I would too. But I want to push back on you. I do not think that this is a communication thing, because I don't think that they made this decision before the season passes went on sale and failed to communicate. I think that they sat down in their boardroom a week ago and said, well, there's going to be a lot of people, so how do we limit this? They're like, oh, we'll just make it Cedar Point people. But here's the other thing. And I was thinking about this because you and I were texting about this a little this week. And you made the point of, well, the ride only does so many people and it's only so many hours, to which I stand by what I said. Then do it for more hours, do it for more days, because you sold a product, you need to live up to it. But they're also doing a reservation system. So you have to reserve to be there. So the whole point of this thing is, so they're going to upset a certain number of people, and they're trying to make sure that it's not Cedar Point people that are upset, it's Kings Island people that are upset. It was a decision. It was not a communication thing.
Or, you got Carowinds, you got Kings Dominion, you got them from all over.
Right.
Across the country. Everyone was looking forward to this ride. Everyone wanted to sort of be one of the first riders on it. Not everybody can go opening day. And, you can wait however long it's going to be to get on that. It's not going to be as long as everyone, I hear people say it's going to be 8 hours long. It's not going to be 8 hours long, but, you can wait till then. But if you want to be one of the first riders, you were looking toward that preview night. You were kind of guessing when that was going to be based on history. I know a lot of folks that went ahead without knowing what the situation was going to be, that went ahead and booked hotel rooms
right
up in Sandusky. Well, now they can't go. So they're a little bit upset. So it's just an unfortunate thing. It gets back to the beginning here. If you haven't bought your pass yet, if you're looking down the line, wait to see what other parks are going to be introducing as their new capital. If there's a major new roller coaster, maybe this is going to be the situation there where it's only going to be for that park. So maybe you want to make that your home park on your season pass. to make sure you would get to go to that preview night if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. So that brings up, I've been thinking about this for several days now, and I've come to two conclusions, and we've discussed both of them, but let's lay them out very simply. So the
Mhm.
first one is always wait to buy your pass until the last minute. Yes, you will pay a little bit more, but there really is not a lot of benefit to renew early. I know that Cedar Point offered like Fast Lane or something that was only good on Sundays or whatever. That's fine, whatever. If that's worth the risk to you, then go for it. But if your park isn't offering anything like that, then pay the extra few bucks and renew in April or May when you're ready to go, so you know what product you're getting. You know
Yeah, I
that I
think you
mean,
want to see the product and you want to see the operating calendar. You know what that's going
yeah,
to be like.
exactly. And it's this is a podcast about Kings Island, so let's talk about Kings Island. Kings Island's operating calendar has only gotten smaller and shorter, less operating days, less operating hours. And every other park, whether it's within Cedar Fair or outside of Cedar Fair, has extended operating days. Your pass is worth less now than it was last year. If you want to talk hour by hour, it's worth less. And that's on top of the whole, like,
Mhm.
there's been no major investment in Haunt for a long time, and Winterfest was cut back pretty substantially. Your pass is worth less now than it was. And put in that column also, you with the Kings Island Gold Pass and the All Park Passport, you cannot go to Cedar Point's preview of Top Thrill 2. So if you have to choose between the two, there's a huge equity variance between Kings Island's Gold Pass and Cedar Point's Gold Pass. And if any part of you thinks you might be going to this Top Thrill preview or want to go, buy the Cedar Point one. Which leads me to my second point. Don't buy your pass from your home park. There's no benefit to you of that. Buy it from the park, as you mentioned, that's adding capital. And what we're really going to see if Dorney Park does it with Iron Menace. If they do
Mhm.
this too, then this codifies this exactly. Always wait to see what the capital is and then decide what park you buy from. It's fine. From your standpoint, you're still buying it from Cedar Fair. So if you're worried about the company and the investment and stuff, it's all going into the same pot. But so two things over. For one, you may get to go to this preview day thing if they have that. And for two, you're rewarding the park that's actually getting an investment.
Yeah.
So look at the whole landscape of the parks. Determine if I get to go to one preview day of all the additions, which one is it? Okay, this is Carowinds year. We're buying a pass there. Add the All Park Passport. You're ready to go, even if you go to Kings Island every single day. I want you to play devil's advocate and tell me why that's a bad idea, Don. I feel like there's
If
some
you're
sort
going
of
to do the
ignorance
all
in
park
there.
passport, and you have plans to visit other parks, makes a lot of sense to do it that way, especially if you want to be one of the first to experience a new attraction, or you want to get there early in the year. I mean, some parks open a lot earlier
Yeah.
than Kings Island does. So if you want to go earlier in the year, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I have yet to purchase my gold season pass. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get all the add-ons, with that. But I'm, looking at what all the parks are doing this year, what their operating calendars are, and where I'm going to get the best value. And that's the park I'm going to pick to buy my season pass.
Yeah, and I think that would be the smart thing to do. Yeah, for me, it's like when you have the drink plans and you got the meal plans and you got the season pass and stuff. It's all a very good value, but the trade-off
Right.
is the company wields a lot of power over you. Because if you buy this meal plan in August and then come April 20th or whatever day that your home park opens, they're like, okay, included in the meal plan this year is La Rosa's Pizza and burgers, and now Grain and Grill's off the menu, and God, I almost called it Red's Hall of Fame Grill. Rivertown Brew House is off the menu. It's like
Right.
that's always possible, and you're agreeing to that because as the prestige pass holders understand more than anybody else, the terms are subject to change. So always wait to see what product you're buying, because it's not like it's double the price in the fall or
Mhm.
in the spring. You save 10, maybe $20, but it's 10 or $20 for the peace of mind of knowing what you're buying.
Yeah, and with the payment plan, those few extra dollars, it doesn't really add up that much.
I agree. Um, And we're looking at like a lot of the things, like you and I were sharing pictures that people were taking in the Six Flags parks that opened over the past
Oh
weekend,
yeah.
and 99-cent surcharge, and now it's $24 for chicken fingers and stuff. And it's like, if that's going to be our future, you need to, like, especially like coming out of the merger and stuff, you need to know what you're buying, because I don't think that
Yeah, that's going to add a whole new dynamic to all this. Now it's not going to affect anybody in 2024.
we're going to have to go to
May not for 2025. It may not be in that place yet where that's all going to be, implemented, because it depends on how long it takes for their merger to close and get everything aligned and start, reconfiguring it. So maybe for 2025, something may change. It may not change for passes, but that's another reason when they go on sale in August, hold off a little bit, just take a look, see what's going to happen, where your passes are going to be good at, where they're not going to be good at, what's going to be available for the dining plan options. And I mean, now you're talking 40-some properties, and there's a lot involved there. And, there's some great benefits with the Six Flags season pass. I have one, and it gets me into all the different parks, and there's great things on the, with the discounts and the meal plans and all of that. And I want to see how that's all going to merge together and work before I would look at getting a 2025 season pass.
Oh, absolutely. And my thought was, if they're charging $24 or whatever it is for chicken tenders, what are they going to offer for a $120 meal plan that's good all season? It's not going to be much better than chicken tenders, I'll tell you that much. But I'm starting to get concerned as a guest and somebody that loves the park, what things are going to look like. And I'll tell you this, Don, if the merger goes through when they think it will, it's going to be oddly close to the timetable that Cedar Fair had when they purchased the parks. Because remember, it closed on June 30th of 2006. And by 2007, Kings Island was very much a Cedar Fair park. So if they get this merger,
yeah, and there's a lot of people that have the same opinions that you're expressing here on the podcast. They just don't have the platform here to do that. We'll see it on social media and that, but you're speaking for a lot of people. You're not just speaking for Ryan Sir here.
Yeah, well, don't use my last name. I'm afraid they're going to try to snipe me for saying these things. But yeah, totally kidding. But yeah, so I'm very concerned with that. I don't know what it's going to look like, because if this were 3 years ago, I would feel a lot better, because I know that Six Flags there's been some questionableness to some of the things they do, and kind of people feel shorted, or then they cancel different pass benefits and so on. That wouldn't happen with us. But then the Prestige Pass thing happened, and now I don't know where their moral flexibility ends. So yeah, I'm very concerned. And again, two things: wait till the last minute to buy your pass. I'm going to buy my pass the day that I decide to visit the park the first time, whether it's pass preview or if it's opening day or whatever. I'm going to buy it that day, because that's the last possible minute that I can buy the pass and not have to pay to get into the tolls.
Yeah. Now let's move forward and talk about another preview, Kings Island's preview night on April 19th. On their website, It says Kings Island Silver, Gold, Prestige.
Yeah.
Passes get in. Now, historically, it's been anyone with a platinum pass got into that. You didn't have to be a Kings Island pass holder. It says Kings Island on there, so that would give them the out if that's not the case. Now, we asked a question in our X, formerly known as Twitter, looking for some clarity. We had someone that, responded and said, it is all parks. Well, that's that person speaking, not someone from the park.
Right.
It would have been great if someone from the Kings Island team would respond to that post and give us clarity, because we're not the only ones with that question. And if the rules have changed, say that. It does not say it's all parks on there. It does not say it's just Kings Island. There's no clarity there. So, it's open for discussion, and I'd like to see some clarity there. So, we have that post on our X. The park can respond and give some clarity. I think that would answer the question a lot of people have, because that's not necessarily our question. That's questions we're getting, asking us if we know. And because they saw at Cedar Point, what happened there, and they want to know, hey, I've got a Cedar Point pass. Am I allowed to come down to Kings Island? It says Kings Island on here, but it doesn't say I can't come, but I could come last year. They don't know. We just like to see some clarity there.
Yeah. So, I mean, specifically, this is displayed on the screen for those of you who are audio listeners, but calling all Kings Island Silver, Gold, and Prestige pass holders. Mark your calendars for an exclusive event just for you. Pass holder preview day. Before the park opens its gates to the general public on April 20th, Silver, Gold, and Prestige season pass holders get a chance to experience the magic early. It very specifically says Kings Island Silver, Gold, and Prestige pass holders, which, again, it would be nice to have clarity on that. But I've got a feeling that almost people are going to be in for a rude awakening, because there are certain people in certain circles that would rather not communicate it and not take the backlash than communicate it, have it understood, and then take some backlash right off the bat.
Yeah. So we're, like I said, we were asking the question that a lot of people had,
Mm-hmm.
and we tagged the park, didn't get an answer.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting to get an answer, but it would be nice to just answer the question so everyone knows before April 19th gets here. And you've got people coming from Sandusky, Cleveland, Toledo, wherever they may be, owning a not a platinum, but a gold pass with the all park add-on from some other park. And maybe they don't get in, or maybe there's someone who's not coming because they think because it says Kings Island, they can't come, and they would have been able to come. So just give some clarity. It's a two-way street there. There's guests from both sides that want to know.
I completely agree. Don, I feel like if we kept talking, we're going to get ourselves killed. So let's move on to the listener question.
All right.
So the listener question is from Scott from SC. And he said, why did they, as in Kings Island, take out the Sky Ride? And do you think they will ever get another one?
Sky Ride, there was an issue with parts. It was difficult to get parts for the ride. It was a fun ride. It was a safe ride. It had the one night where, got stuck and there was the storm and all that, but it still ran, after that. But it was just getting harder to get parts. And that was the reason that they said at the time when it was removed. And in my early years as a pass holder, when I got to know a lot of people, working there on the marketing team and that, the Ruth Vosses, the Bill Medfords, everybody else that was in that department at the time, they all had the same, thing when I would ask about it. It was just, well, it was tough to get parts. They loved it. They loved the way that, went across the park, and it was popular, great views of the park, not something they wanted to get rid of. So I think that was the reason. Now, in terms of will it ever come back, you never want to say never, because ever is a long time. But I would say in the foreseeable future, not a chance.
Yeah, I mean, ever is a very, very long time. And I feel like there's going to be some point where some park adds one and it's going to cause a lot of interest. And that's when Kings Island's going to start looking at it.
Yeah, things go in cycles. Yeah, it goes in cycles like that. And things come back around. So, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and then the other thing would be that could cause that is, I wouldn't say if Cedar Point removes theirs, but let's say Cedar Point, like the rumor is that Cedar Point's going to remove their Sky Ride. And if there's like a big uproar, it could make people be like, oh, those are really popular. People really care about them. Because I'm not sure if they're particularly expensive to install, but I imagine they're not. They're not on the very, very high scale, simply because a lot of parks have them. But I'd love to see it come back.
Yeah, but now you look at, where's it going to, go to? Where do you get on? Where do you get off the ride? Before, they still have the building in Planet Snoopy, Snoopy's Boutique now, where one of the load stations was located, but the other one, you're looking at Cargo Loco, sitting there now. So I think that you'd have to find the right spot for it. Maybe it's something that you could take guests to and from the water park. I don't know, from Coney, well, who knows? But I would love to see it. I think it's anytime that I go to a park and they have one, I'm riding it.
Oh yeah.
There's one at Camden Park. Parks, I mean, it's almost as old as time. And so is that Sky Ride, and it looks like it. But it's just got the bar that comes down. I mean, it doesn't lock or anything. I mean, it's as, old as you can get on that, but it's still fun. And I'm going to make sure, anytime I go to a park that I am doing that, number one, because I love them, but number two, I always go back to that you vote with your feet. And I want to make sure that I'm riding it so parks know that there's interest in these rides. Enough people do it. They'll stick around for the long haul at those parks that have them, as long as they get parts.
Yeah, and then it's is it Von Roll that makes most of them? So fun fact, from what I can see, I think Von Roll and Intamin are the only two publicly traded companies that make amusement rides. Neither of which are traded in the United States, but I thought that was a fun fact. If anybody knows of any other ones, by all means, tweet at us or leave a comment. But
Yeah, great question.
yeah, that was a good question. I'd love to see a Skyride. Now, I would say that the smart thing to do would be to put it kind of where the other one was. You mentioned like there's some logistical things, but let's say that they can find a place for it. That would be the smart thing to do. That's not the day and age we live in. So you know that it would go up and down Coney Mall if they added it. It would be more similar. Yeah. It would be more similar to Cedar Points than it would be to our old one. But
Right.
But I still wouldn't mind that one either.
No,
All right.
no, I mean, brought back the antique cars. Why not the Skyride?
Right. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. All right. Hey, I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.